Ultramarines fans, man, you have been eating good these days with some massive releases. As you know right now, we have a very big action figure review on our hands today. This is Sprues and Studs, and I'm excited to finally be able to bring you the review of Marneus Calgar. I've been really looking forward to this one. Overall, I have been impressed with how JoyToy has treated the Space Marine 2 line, especially with Lieutenant Titus and his squad. Let's just hope with this review that JoyToy brought their S-tier game with Calgar, and perhaps even more. Taking a look at Lord Calgar, one of his most distinguishing features is this menacing red lens that covers his left eye. While the general structure of the apparatus is fine, it would appear that JoyToy made the lens a bit smaller than the one seen on the video game. Also, his face, while the features are there, could use some deepening because the facial lines are not very well defined. At least I am happy with the texture as well as the shading of his manly coif of white hair. Now with the helmeted version, the lens now looks an appropriate size for a man of his countenance. What is also interesting to me is that his helmet actually has a mouth here. Most of the time, they're just straight up vents in plebeian marines. The laurels around his head are very textured, but could use some depth of flavor to bring out the leafiness even more. Also, Calgar comes stock with LEDs, which is nice that JoyToy decided to include them just like how they included with the collector's edition of Titus. With the pauldron and arms, wow, talk about your finer details here, especially with the lining of the pauldron. I am impressed with this rope-like texture. And then moving on to this fantastic corded design. This look is definitely befitting of an honorable chapter master for sure. I also love how the U and the skull are not screened on, but is actually 3D. And all of this actually remains very faithful to the video game asset. The power fist of the gauntlets of Ultramar are equally as highly detailed with the amped up U, the laurels, as well as the golden flames. Now the stock open hands have no articulation with the fingers, which would have been nice to have. Then removing these stock ones are fairly simple. And then replacing one of the optional hands, I would have to say that the other hands fit nice and snug. Then on the right pauldron, you have a mighty double aquila that all Marines would be jealous of for sure. The level of details with the feathers is absolutely insane, but you already know what I'm going to say here. The Broken Records says, where the hell is the shading? Oh, also of note, if you don't know already by now, Calgar is definitely a version 4 figure by this pauldron joint right here. With the chest and torso area, I believe that this is the first time we have a Gravis armored V4 figure. The construction of Calgar is hollow and different from other V3 Gravis figures because the V3 ones are just solid plastic. The chest area sports some nicely shaded cords that are running over his aquila. Then the pendant that is dangling down from this area is very faithful and accurate to the video game version of the Master of Macragge. And I'm also glad that the side armor vents are shaded, even though it is a very small detail. Then finally, the torso is very intensely elaborate with the soft armor ribs. Just like the rest of the action figure, there is a massive amount of stuff that is going on with Calgar's waist. He's got a custom Ultramarines purity seal that is literally 10 miles long, and I like the dark little scribbles that are on it. Then I find the U on the belt buckle a bit too stark of a white. It's kind of hard to make out the details due to the aspect. Perhaps a more grayish white would have helped define the U a little bit more. Then with the Baltea or leather tabard of Calgar, this thing is 15 miles long. I am actually a big fan of the texture in this area with the nicks and kinks in the leather. However, I would have liked this area to be a little bit more wavy to connote motion, just like Gadriel's, but Calgar's is, well, limp and semi-flaccid. And unfortunately, this appears to be the case with the back tabard too. The side armor panels are highly decorated too, with the golden skull and the laurel underneath that. The knees have a really nicely screened on design, and this is the view of the left knee. However, the star of the lower leg show are the laurels on this right shin, and especially this massive aquila on this left one. The feathers really provide an awesome textural sensation. for the eyes. The intakes of the vents on the backpack are phenomenal too. Again, if you look at the video game version of him, the action figure is extremely faithful to it. Just look how even the slats in the vents show. Iron Halo, while it appears to be sharp, is made of a soft plastic over here so you don't stab yourself when posing this beefcake of a man. The eagle heads are very prominent, is one of those things that your eyes gravitate towards when you're looking at his cake side. Then finally, the drum magazine that feeds the gauntlets are beautifully weathered and highly detailed. Now, what is there to say about this luxurious red velvety cape? It is shaded perfectly and conveys the feeling of flowiness as you get a sense of motion from it. Then the same goes for the backside of the cape too. Now, with the gauntlets of Ultramar, I suppose this is one of those few times where I say that permanently attached weapons don't really bother me, because this is what the gauntlets of Ultramar are supposed to be. This highly elaborate belt of bullets is extremely flexible, allowing Calgar to move around. Now, interestingly enough, you would think that there is going to be some sort of inhibition of motion with this belt as well as this cable here. However, that is not the case. If you start Calgar's arm up like this, you can spin it 360 degrees motion without any inhibition whatsoever, which is awesome. Aside from that, the bolters underneath are your standard black and gunmetal colors with fantastic color balance. As I was doing the review, I actually didn't notice that this ammunition belt kind of popped out, but I suppose it is rather easy to pop back in. All you have to do is just put super glue on it and just attach it in like that. And now, probably the most important question is, how tall exactly is this retooled Calgar? Well, let's find out. So next to Lord Calgar, we have a Grunt version 3 Space Marine. So you can tell that the eye level comes up pretty much to Calgar's chest. So Calgar is very tall. And then next we have Lieutenant Titus over on his right-hand side. And the top of Titus's helmet pretty much comes to Calgar's collar area. And then finally, Calgar is as tall as a retooled Terminator, which is absolutely insane that he's actually as tall as one. If you could not tell already, I am extremely impressed with the fit and finish of Lord Calgar over here. I think that JoyToy did this chapter master justice, and they definitely amped up their game for sure. You saw the video game representation of Calgar was faithfully translated to this action figure form, and I really loved how JoyToy retooled him over the first release of Calgar. I'm also glad that JoyToy increased his size, because the older one was too short, and now this guy is definitely the stature of a hero. And I'm gonna say straight up right now, we have a very strong contender for the action figure of the year for 2025. Now, the only thing that kind of makes me scratch my head is, why is Calgar's armor a little bit clean looking? We saw in the collector's edition of Titus and the Squad that JoyToy definitely can boost up the stock weathering and detailing. Then this weirdly makes me wonder, is there going to be a collector's edition of Marneus Calgar? If so, I'm not exactly too sure how I'm going to feel about that. But that, I suppose, is a discussion that we're going to have to leave for another day. Anyway, if you want to pick up this excellent action figure of Calgar, click in the link in the description below, where you will be brought to David Toys. Their free shipping option usually will get to your doorstep if you live in the United States between 7 to 10 days, which is phenomenal. And most of you know now that I've worked exclusively with them for the past 3 years, and they have been nothing but awesome with their customer service. If there's something that goes wrong, they will definitely do their best to make those wrong things right. Do not forget to use the promo code SNS to receive 12% off, as it helps you and it also helps me in the end too. So members of the chapter, are you going to pick up this version of Calgar? And if you have the first edition, I'm curious to see if you're also going to pick up this guy as well, and I would like to know why, so just leave a comment in the comment section. And so members of the chapter, thank you so much for tuning into this action figure review. Your likes, comments, subscribes all help boost the channel, and I am extremely thankful for you all for that. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.